What do you regret doing in a dare? Running the bases naked and sliding into home. All was okay until the slide. Dude, why the F would you slide naked? You want a dick burn cause that's how you get a dick burn. Not head first. Regular slide. Just side but road rash. Head first. Just like George Michael. Someone dared me to go up to my crush and ask if she clogged up my toilet at my house. She said yes. Alpha Raf. Both sides of the interaction were Alpha Raf TBH. They would make a power couple. Not me, but my brother's friend was dared to spray an entire can of deodorant on the back of his hand. 3rd degree aerosol burn and permanent scarring. I didn't even know that could happen. There was a kid who died from too much deodorant. He would spray himself from head to toe several times daily. His parents said, if you were in the same room you could taste it. Some guy I know would do this kind of shit. I really fucking hate the smell of Axe deodorant sprays and I don't get why people would think they smell manly from them. Marketing towards desperate people. Running a friend over. He said he wanted to be a stunt guy. I had a crappy old car. We dared him to get hit by a car. I was ass low dared to hit him. Long story short, he went to the hospital and I needed a new windshield. Lucky he didn't sue me. I'd actually like the long story. A group of us being idiots and playing an escalating game of bears. It mostly happened because the one guy said he could do stunts and wanted to be a stuntman. So we are jumping off stuff. He is tossing his body onto the ground from increasing higher things. Someone dares him to get hit by a car and roll off it. We are laughing at this idea and the same guy dares me to hit him with my pile of junk Jetta. People toss around no balls and other insults. I think I will hit him going slow. He will just jump up on the hood and it won't do much. We line up. I'm going I think around 10 miles per hour. Dude starts running at the car. I think he is joking and will dive off to the side. So I keep going straight not to run him over. He jumps sideways on the car. Totally smashes the windshield. He hit hard and just laid there. I ended up taking my car to the junkyard because it trashed and a new window wasn't not worth getting. I didn't want the risk of anyone asking why there was fabric and blood in the cracks. My friend got a ride from our other friend to the hospital. He had a concussion and many bruises and some cuts. Last time I heard from him, he was working a labor job and never became a stuntman. You know you're driving a hoopty when it's not worth replacing a broken windshield. To be fair, if I rocked up to a garage with blood all over the dash, I'd expect to get a quick visit from Her Majesty's Constabulary. Riding my skateboard down a large road hill a second time. 5 torn ligaments. 4 surgeries over 10 years and still more problems to come. Licking a frozen pole during winter. RSF that hurts. I was 7 years old when I did it. Full on tongue on a metal chain from the swings. Recess bell rang and everybody was leaving and left me there. Well, as dumb as I was, I just yanked my head backwards and had an awful taste of blood for 2 weeks. To this day, I still have scars and am now 25 yo. I was dared to lick a metal fence pole after school when I was younger. Didn't realize how cold it was. Anytime I tried to force it off, it hurt too much. So my friend called out to some teachers as they were leaving. They used almost scalding hot water to pull my tongue free from that stupid pole. I hate that memory. And sounds like you had it worse, man. That sucks. They could have just used room temperature water to unstick you. During a primary school camp, in the boys' cabin I was in, we were doing truth or dare. I decided to join in. I chose to be asked a truth. I was asked who my crush was, and I told truthfully. A week later my crush came to me to tell me she did not like me. When I asked who told her, she just said Jamaspheres 2 James is in my year level. They were both in that cabin. I have no idea which one snitched. Never played truth or dare after that. The first mistake. Telling a truth on truth. Truth or dare? Truth, tell us who your crush is. Your mom. Got my scrotum professionally pierced at a house party. I still remember looking down drunkenly to see a good friend and piercer cleaning my balls while a good chunk of my friends watched on. Thankfully this was before social media and smartphones. Something about the phrase a good chunk and genital piercings don't mix in a sentence. I've told this before, but we 3 guys and 3 girls were all in the hot tub at this chick's house. And I get dead to go, mash my D/balls up against her parents' bedroom window. Granted, it's like 1 AM. And the whole house is completely dark. So I thought it would be no big deal. Get out of the hot tub, run over to the window, drop my suit, and smash my junk up against the window for a few moments. Then, in the reflected light of the pool, I catch a glimpse of her parents sitting right inside the window, watching us from inside. They didn't even blink. Just watched me. It was fucking terrifying. Terrifying. Like, I saw them for a split fucking second as the light passed over the glass, just inches away from my mashed up D on the other side of the window. Something from a horror movie. I gasped and ran back to the hot tub, got back in, and just sat there in complete silence. A couple minutes later, her dad comes outside laughing, hands me a beer, and then reminisces with all of us for a minute about the crazy ass he did when he was a kid. I've never felt a shock like I did when I saw their faces. It still haunts me sometimes. But it all turned out better than expected. I was 25. I remember I saw your comment on YouTube. I've seen the YouTube videos where they just read Reddit posts, and always been curious what the draw is. Is it more rewarding to have someone read Reddit comments rather than having to read them yourself? People are literally that brain dead that they don't even want to read the BuzzFeed top 10 list. Pretty soon someone will devise an app that makes so they don't even have to type to search the video. Alexa, is there an app that? Hey, wait a minute. Certainly not the worst thing in the world, but when I was 19 I jumped off a pier into the water. Turns out the water was shallow, and I'd fractured my foot. I only regret it because I have always been a cautious and calculating person. In this instance I just wanted to be liked, and it ended up with me in an Italian emergency room. So I guess the regret isn't jumping. What I regret is thinking I needed people to think I was cool. The same thing happened with my friend's foot and a pier earlier this year. She had to walk on crutches for months and had to quit her job as a lifeguard. A very competent swimmer, but completely misjudged the depth of the water when she went to this particular beach. So for all the thrill seekers, don't jump into water if you don't know how deep it is. When I was a teenager I tried the cinnamon challenge. For those unaware, you take a spoonful of ground cinnamon and try to eat it, and it doesn't go well lol. I put it in my mouth, and it immediately sucked all of the moisture out of my mouth and sinuses. To make matters worse, the drying out of my sinuses caused me to sneeze, making cinnamon fly out of both of my nostrils like a dragon snorting flames. I then proceeded to dry heave in the bathroom for the next 5 minutes or so. Pretty sure fate was the most miserable 5 minutes of my life so far. I still can't stand the taste of cinnamon. More than 10 years later, the cinnamon challenge can really F you up if you end up deeply inhaling a bunch of powdered cinnamon. Your lung tissue will not like it and get really inflamed. That can start filling your lungs up with fluid. That's bad. Aggressively starts eating ground cinnamon. Username checks out. Proceed. Carrot pulls up a chair. Was dared to get naked and run outside. I say naked, but in actuality I was left with my underwear and a stupid hat. My friends locked me out there for about 15 to 20 minutes while they were shooting me with a BB gun. Fun times. Asking a girl out for a joke. Turns out she had her almost maniac overly protective boyfriend. He beat the s out of me. This wasn't adulthood, mind you. This was in early teenager years. So please don't overreact. If all you did was just ask her out, that's not an overly protective boyfriend. That's a full-blown psycho. My dude. NGL makes sense. But they were a really popular and cutesy couple at the time. Maybe he just blew up on me out of jealousy for others. Maybe he was making an example of what he does to his girlfriends. Taking off my shirt and flexing my pecs for a slightly drunk female roommate and her cousin. But they kept singing the Get Your Tits Out song. Get your tits out. Get your tits out. Get your tits out for the boys. That's the one. I've not heard that one for years. Oh man. In my 20s, I was one of those quiet people who would get drunk and suddenly have all of the personality in the world. In one particular instance, on theirs, I kissed a dude and showed a whole party of people the goat. The fact that a whole group of my friends was subject to seeing my balls, and probably my butthole too, is one of those thoughts that hits me as I'm trying to fall asleep at night. The goat because they were the greatest balls of all time. Or because they look like goat balls. It's from the movie Waiting. Ya gotta isolate ya nuts.